Welcome back, everybody. The History Guy here, ready to take on yet another episode as the nation of Israel in Millennium Dawn, which is a modern-day mod for Hearts of Iron 4. There's a couple of additional mods that go along with that. I've listed those below if you want to see what they are. But one thing I want you to notice right away is how fast the game is going now. My apologies that for the first 4 episodes it didn't go this fast, but I installed a new graphics card as well as additional RAM in my computer, and boy does it make a big difference on this game. As you can see, it's going a good 5 times faster than before, and gonna go ahead and apply to join the European Union, which I am now a part of. I don't know exactly what that does for me, but I had the political points and that was an available option, so we made it happen. A couple other things I want to be thinking about here, and one of those is that I am going to start justifying a war goal against the Kurdish Islamic State. That's going to take the better part of a year to make happen. We've got some civilian factories free, which I'm going to immediately go in and start building a second nuclear reactor. Upon completion of these nuclear reactors, I will immediately start producing nuclear weapons. Now, in real life, they're terrible. I would never want them to be used. In a game like this, as a small nation, I absolutely want to have some. There are, as far as I'm aware, and I think as far as the world is aware, 8 nuclear nations on Earth that have nuclear weapons, and they would be the United States, the United Kingdom, France, Russia, Pakistan and India, China, and Israel. So, that's who has nuclear weapons that we're aware. Let's not forget North Korea. Yeah, North Korea has them as well. They have a few. Israel supposedly has them. We don't know for sure. I think it's probably silly to assume that they don't. I'm sure they probably do. So we're going to start producing nuclear weapons. In the meantime, let's double check how things are going with production and trade. We're in the right place right now, but as always, whenever you make changes to what you're producing, that changes what happens there. So I'm actually going to scale back a little bit on main battle tanks and start building up these mechanized because I need a whole lot of them at the moment. I also am going to make a change to infantry brigades. I'm going to put some infantry battalions in there because those are basically free for me right now because they basically only require support equipment and infantry equipment, which I actually have a stockpile of. These other units, they're waiting on mechanized and motorized and main battle tanks, which I don't have the factories to produce enough of those right now, but I am working on that. Militarization project, my first one's about to be complete, so that gives me an additional couple of military factories as well as some additional building slots where I can produce even more, and we're going to do 3 more national focuses that focus on that. Then we'll be able to get another additional research slot, and then I'm going to change my focus, I think, to diplomatic focus, and we're going to go the aggressive policy for expansion, demanding the West Bank, Gaza, Jordan, Sinai, etc. But of course, world events could change what I decide to do. We'll have to make that decision when it comes time. I need to trade for some additional rubber and steel because of my changes in production. All right, and since we are going to justify against the Kurds in the north, I'm going to need to move my military accordingly. In the meantime, though, I'm going to work on an exercise with them because I want to get some more experience points that I can use to further add infantry units to some of these divisions already in the field. I've got the manpower. What I don't have are the resources. And that should be a relatively easy victory there. Free markets, free the people, stop government. Libertarian calls of our market liberal movements echoed throughout the streets in one of our larger cities today. Capitalistic idealism is rapidly gaining steam, so the popularity of libertarians has gone up 2%. Conspiracy theories have been an ever-increasing part of the 21st century. Thanks to the internet, self-proclaimed freethinkers were able to form groups and develop theories about various world orders much more effectively. My 9-year-old son talks nonstop about the Illuminati. He's been watching too many YouTube videos. So let's take a look here. It's one of those. Don't we have a country to run? Stability will increase by 1. Let's go that route. So world tensions at 30%, mostly because of things that I've done, but also because of the Islamic State, which doesn't exist at the moment because I defeated them. Let's take a look here. Political advisor, we've got one here that will gain 15% national unity. My national unity stands at 92%, which has to give me probably one of the most unified nations on earth. So we're almost into February 2019 now. Going to have our artillery upgrade coming. Let's see when we're going to get that war justification. That's going to come in early September of 2019, so a little ways off. The Kurds are among one of the few nations I can really go after right now because they don't have any allies, nor do the Iranians. Some of these other nations to my south here, Saudi Arabia, Oman, Yemen, they're all part of this peninsular defense shield, which kind of makes it difficult to go to war with them because they've got those allies. So it's better off to pick off these nations that don't have allies first. Looks like Lebanon would be another one that I could justify against. And that would be a relatively easy one for me to take. I just got to be careful because if I get too aggressive with my expansion, I don't have the political power to do that right now. I could start to gain the attention, unwanted attention, of some of the world powers. So I've got to be cautious that I don't get too crazy with my expansion. So we'll probably go ahead and expand to the Kurds, and then we'll kind of quiet down for just a little while and focus on doing things diplomatically. All right, so we're moving quite quickly along now. We're into late February. I could get these units into the field if I want to, but I'm not really going to focus on that just yet. However, I am going to continue to add infantry, which you can see the bonuses there to that. I'll save that. I'm also going to, I think, add, I don't know, I don't think I want to add them to armored divisions because that would probably just slow them down because everything else is mobile. So I don't want to go that route. Right now, I'm focusing on upgrading my military. I want to have a nice, flexible, powerful force here. Ceramic body armor gives me some nice little boosts as well. So even though I won't have a large military, I should have a very effective one. And then decryption algorithm is going to happen here in a minute. Hopefully that should give me additional information about what's going on in the nations around me. It's always good to have that information. There we go. So yeah, I can start to see a little bit more of what's going on around me. Can't see the focus yet, so I'm going to have to get some more breakthroughs on decryption to be able to see what other nations are focusing on. So we'll do that one again. That's only a 3-month research. Pretty easy one there. All right, what's happening here? This is a choice. One of the leading Halikud lawmakers has recently proposed that some thorough reforms to the basis of our law codes affecting our local administrators and law enforcers would increase the trust of the people in our government. So we can lose political power for the sake of stability. Yeah, we should focus on other issues. I think I've got enough stability right now. Yeah, my average stability is +1, and I don't know that it can go much higher than that anyway. So being a part of the European Union actually hurts my political power, it looks like. Interesting. And militarizing the cities does as well. but I'm still gaining 1.2 per day. It's just not gaining as fast as it was before. So we're quite a while from getting to the next research breakthroughs, but another militarization of the cities is about to happen. Airline scandal. One of our major civilian airlines has been involved in a major corruption scandal. So let's see. Our companies will do what is necessary. So about 15 more days, we'll get another militarize the cities, and then 2 more of those will gain us several more military factories, and then we can go down and get another research slot. That'll be really nice because I'm actually really behind in some areas of research just to catch up to the modern time. You have these penalties that you take for research when you get to certain time periods with the research. And I'm really far behind on a lot of these. You can see that a lot of these are still 2004, 2006, 2008, and we're into 2019. So there's a lot of research that I can do and do quickly. So we're into April now. We've got to get to early September before we can justify this war and finish kind of taking the north of Iraq and Syria. All right, there's a couple more military factories. Every bit helps. I feel like my economy is much, much stronger than it was a couple of years ago when I took control of this game. Looks like I don't need to make any changes in trade to compensate for those additional military factories. Our first nuclear reactor is a month away, and I believe that as it stands, each nuclear reactor is going to allow me to build about 1 nuclear bomb per year. So I'm assuming with 2, I'll be able to build 2 nukes per year. And then I'll probably start focusing on some other things like building some additional military factories. I don't think I'll go for a 3rd nuclear reactor. Those are pretty costly to build. They take a while. So we'll queue up some military factories after that. All right, so let's take a look here. Still a couple of months away from our next research, a couple of months away from our next national focus. So there's really not a lot going on, at least till we get to the late summer. Gonna open a Pop-Tart for my son here. Even though I'm making a YouTube video, dad duties never end. And these are, what kind of Pop-Tarts are these, buddy?
Cookies and cream.
Cookies and cream. They're fantastic.
Because you know why?
Why, buddy?
Because there's brown on the back.
Yes, they're delicious. We should probably have something a little healthier for lunch, though. So I'll come up and make lunch in a few minutes, okay, bud?
Okay.
All right, that's my son Eli. He is 4 years old, and he's a gamer himself. He loves playing Roblox on the iPad. He plays a lot of Skylanders.
I know, I'm addicted to Roblox.
He says he's addicted to Roblox. So, and then he's got an older brother who is a big fan of Rocket League. That seems to be the thing he plays most of the time today.
Yeah, I really am addicted to Roblox.
And then my eldest is my daughter, and she's really into a lot of games as well. And they do a lot of games on YouTube. They have a YouTube channel, and I think some of my early videos I linked to their YouTube channel, but they haven't been doing a lot lately. Caleb just likes to sit around on the Xbox and play Rocket League the whole time. So, all right, so what's happening here? Italy prepares unification treaties. Italy has announced that the treaties to unite Europe will be passed to the European Parliament for approval. It's a matter of months until Europe will be united under a single state. That'll be really interesting because that's kind of like creating another major world superpower here. My hunch is the UK will stay out of that, but I'll be really curious to see what happens. And it looks like the game has hung up a little bit. This happens occasionally with this mod where some major events will trigger and it'll hang up for just a second, but it will kind of get going again here before too long. So we're into May now. A lot going to be happening in the next 2 months. All 4 of these researches will be done. We'll finish militarizing the Negev. We're going to finish justification of a war against the Kurdish Islamic State. That'll be happening at the beginning of September. So a lot is going to happen right at the end of this last episode here, or of this particular episode. think I'm going to need some more caffeine. I'm stumbling over my words a lot today. Pretty quiet at the moment. If you're not familiar with my videos, you'll notice there's no music playing. I turn the music off whenever I'm playing these games because I just find that when I watch other people doing videos, I just find it to be a little distracting when the music's playing, especially if it's too loud. But I would highly recommend, if you're playing this game, that you definitely play the music, because Paradox has some great soundtracks on their games, and there are some great mods as well. Now, for the modern day mod, I wouldn't go with this one, but if you're playing World War II, I highly recommend the mod that allows you to get the soundtracks from popular World War II movies and series like Band of Brothers, Saving Private Ryan, Pearl Harbor, some great soundtracks. And at least for me personally, it really just puts me in the mood of playing World War II games when I have those soundtracks playing in the background. All right, so I've stopped doing exercises because with the war looming very soon, I want to give my forces a chance to refit. All right, we're going to focus on rocket engines. Get that going. If I'm going to have nukes, I want to have the ability, hopefully, to launch them with ICBMs. I don't know if that's a possibility on here, because I think you mostly have to use bombers for those. But there you have it. So we're into June now. I think we'll probably take this right up to the brink of war with the Kurdish Islamic State. Depending on how long that takes, I may stop before I get to that point, or I may go ahead and complete that war real quick before the end of this episode. We'll see how things play out. As always, I welcome your input. If you have particular things that you would like to see me do, if you have you want to have some say in the direction I go with this, then please, by all means, use the comment section below for that. I would love to hear what you have to say, what you think. I may take you up on some of those suggestions. If there are things you want to see, you just want me to kind of go over in the game, because there's sometimes some downtime like right now where not a lot's happening, and if you want me to show you what something looks like, or you want to see what's going on in another nation, or just want me to explain how something works, I'd be glad to do that for you as well. Message from the United States. Okay, they have changed their diplomatic status with us, canceling non-aggression pact. All right, well, I don't know how to feel about that. If they're canceling the non-aggression pact, it seems to me like maybe they think I'm being a little too aggressive by justifying these wars. So I might want to just pause a little. Oh, Germany just did the same thing. So those were the two nations that entered into a non-aggression pact with me after I conquered Iraq and Syria. Interesting. Maybe I should be a little concerned about that. I don't know. So once world tension gets to 50%, I could probably join NATO. Be curious to see if NATO continues to exist if Europe becomes a one-state government. Looks like Angela Merkel is still the leader in Germany. Theresa May is still there in the UK. Hamon in France. I'm not real familiar with him or her. I think that's a male name. All right, so there's a couple more breakthroughs. Let's go ahead and go with elastic defense. It's always good to be researching some short-term things and some long-term things, and land warfare doctrines are good ones to have. Let's see here. Maybe we'll go, it looks like we can go one more main battle tank and we'll be caught up with that research. So let's go ahead and do that. We're about to complete our next militarization project. Yeah, I think we'll probably take this right up to before we declare war on the Kurdish Islamic State, because that's going to make this probably go a little too long. That'll be for tomorrow's episode. All right, 2 days away from our next expansion of military factories. And there we have it. We've got one more complete militarization. That's going to get me an additional 5 military factories. That's huge. Really excited about that one. It takes a little bit longer, 140 days, but well worth it. Going to need to trade for some more steel from France. I wish I would just keep what I have instead of having to trade for it, but I understand that's not necessarily how life works. Everything else we're pretty solid with. Let's take a look here. I really need to be building some more mechanized. I've got a really big deficiency in terms of the number of mechanized units that I need. However, motorized we're in pretty good shape, so maybe I need to add some additional motorized units to my existing forces, because those are basically free except for manpower. Armored divisions, here we go. Alright, we'll add one more motorized. That's, like I said, it's kind of a freebie because we've got the units. And I'm just short on mechanized right now for armored divisions. I'm going to queue up another armored division. Alright, so nothing major is going to happen here for a little while, a couple of months on the research front. Same with militarization, that's a little ways away. So really, things should be fairly quiet until September when the war hits. So I think we'll let this go a little bit further, and then we'll wrap up this episode. As always, I definitely welcome your input. And if you want to check out some of my other videos, I'll put some links up to some of those things. Having a lot of fun right now with Ultimate Epic Battle Simulator. It's not really a serious strategy war game. It's more of just one of those fun things to do. You get to do a bunch of what-if battles. Like you can see what happens if Chuck Norris goes up against 100,000 chickens if you want to. Or see zombies go up against 300 Spartans. The possibilities are endless. I think they just added Tyrannosaurus Rex and kangaroos to that as well. So check out a couple of videos I've got about that. And if you want to make requests, I'm just doing that as kind of a fun diversion to have a good laugh. So make your requests, and I'm going to try to fill those requests as often as I possibly can. I'll put the link up for that. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up right now because we are about a month away from war. And that's going to be a pretty full episode. I think the next one, a lot's going to be happening. So, as always, thanks for watching. Use that comment section below. If you're enjoying this series and you would hit that thumbs up, I'd greatly appreciate it. And we'll try to come back with another episode as Israel tomorrow. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great weekend.